All right, here we are again. Take two. I'm wearing my glasses right now because I need to be able to see things. Give me just one moment. I want to shut some things down here. Where is that? Where is that? Don't you love it when you're trying to find something specific and then you can't? Oh, there we go. There we go. I want you closed. Don't save. All right. Okay. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Okay, so before we even get into what I'm going to talk about today, which you can see by the title of the live, I think, I just want to, let's just talk about what it's like to do something for the first time and have it totally not go the way that you wanted it to. And then you just keep going. So if any of you are watching this and you've been thinking about starting something, you want to, start your, let's see, what are you guys starting? You want to start your own YouTube channel. You want to, start a podcast. You want to do anything that's going to involve other people listening to you, watching you, and you've been trying to get it perfect. Let this be a reminder that the growth opportunity is in the failure. All right. So here I am back again, doing it up, and it feels really good. So the topic that we are going to dive into, the self-love lesson for today, is all about comparison and why it really is important to keep comparison on a tight hold so that we can be empowered on our self-love journey. And if you are with me on Instagram and you're with me on TikTok, then you might have seen the reel/TikTok that I did this morning. It was basically like a little reminder to you to really just think about your mood, be very conscious. If your mood is not one that is enlivening you and empowering you, for you to sort of dig into why. And what I have found, quite honestly, is that for a lot of us, when our moods are low, like particularly when our moods are centered around just not feeling good enough, not feeling like we're where we're supposed to be, second guessing ourselves, doubting ourselves, that sort of thing. A lot of that has to do not just with our own view of ourselves, but with us looking out at the external world and looking out at other people, then doing the comparison and being like, I don't do that like they do. They're doing better than me. They could do it when, I don't know, I'll give you a perfect example, actually. This morning I was in a session with a client, and she's like this totally badass, amazing person. And when I asked her to sort of just tell me about what the last few years have been like for her, like what her accomplishments were, y'all, she was so like, I don't really know. The only things I did were, just hang out with my friends and drink, right? And I was like, okay, maybe. So you hung out with your friends and you drank. That's all you did? And even if that's all you did, that's not enough for you. Why is that? Here's the thing I have to let you know. She actually has done so much more. Like, she finished her education, went on to be like this badass, in her field. She works with some of the most difficult populations and difficult people. Like, she is someone that her work, what she does, is in the space of healing and supporting people around their mental health. She's also had like a ton of transitions in her life. Like, I could get into it, but the point that I'm really trying to make here is that she's done so much and she doesn't see it. Instead, what is happening is she's looking out at other people, thinking about what they have done, and she's able to see their accomplishments. She's able to see like what they do so well, and couldn't even see that like in so many ways she's done similar things, and in a lot of ways she's done more. So comparison really is this thing that it cannibalizes our joy. It cannibalizes our experience of ourselves. It cannibalizes all of the things that are good for us. Okay? And it's really, really, really important to know that that is what it does. Because if you understand that that is what it does, like that is what comparison does, is it literally sabotages you. It literally stops you dead in your tracks and has you be all crumpled up in a little ball, feeling badly about yourself. You want to find a way to not do what you said you would, to not go after your dreams, to put up with all kinds of garbage and let people walk all over you and treat you a certain kind of way. Compare yourself and see what that does. Because here's the thing to understand is there's greatness in most people. There's greatness in most people. So if you are trying really hard to find evidence for why someone is smarter than you or more gifted than you or better than you at telling stories, or, you know, a better mom or a better partner or a, you know, a more successful entrepreneur or all of that, you will find it. You will find it. You'll always find what you are looking for. And so that's why a big part of the self-love journey and the work that we do is like, we have to start looking for the things that support us on our journey. We have to start looking for the things that empower us and stop being hyper-focused or attuning our lens on focusing on what makes us feel like we are not enough and what makes us feel like we are trash. Now, here's the other thing that I want to say, okay, is that sometimes this desire to compare ourselves comes from our own feelings of low self-worth and whatever it is we're trying to work through, our own insecurities. But at times, and I know you all know this, it can be that the circle of people that we are surrounded by reflect back to us that we are not enough, okay? This is important. So it's like, if you find yourself in a group of people that they are always criticizing you, or they are always belittling you, or they are always telling you that your ideas are harebrained ideas, or that, you know, you can't do whatever it is you want to do, then of course you're going to be feeling like that. Of course you're going to be comparing yourself, because everywhere around you, you're being reinforced and you're being told that you're not good enough. So then what I would say there is the action is to really surround yourself with some different people. Now, I know that I'm making this sound like it's so easy. It's not easy. It's not easy. But the thing that I always say in my various different self-love masterclasses, or in my stories, if you watch them on Instagram or on TikTok, just wherever you are connected to me, is that we're powerful. We're powerful. We are the ones that are allowing certain people to be in our lives. Now, I totally understand, okay? Because some of you are going to say, yeah, but like, you know, like, I didn't choose my parents. I didn't choose my family. You know, I didn't choose these people. Yeah, you may not have chosen these people in that way, okay? And the thing to understand is that, you know, family serves a purpose. Family, from a spiritual perspective, is there to download into us a particular set of genetic, psychological, familial sort of like issues for us to conquer, right? It's part of the reason why genes are passed on, and then we can talk about like epigenetics, whether they're activated or not. You know, the traumas that our ancestors, our lineage, our parents' parents experienced, those things are passed down. And as a result, a lot of the stories, a lot of the beliefs, a lot of the expectations, these things are all passed down. So if you think about it from a deeper soul and self-love perspective, like you were born into this because these were the obstacles. I'm not saying that you want, like, understand me. I'm not saying that this is amazing and yay, you should be happy for the set of issues that you were born into. What I'm saying is that if you hold a spiritual self-love perspective, you understand that this is not an accident or a coincidence, and these things are the challenges that when you go at them and when you confront them and when you apply yourself will allow you to fulfill on whatever you have decided your destiny is. Because all of us are born with family issues and family traumas and things that are kind of crazy and messed up. You know, most of us don't have a perfect sort of family background or, the most hunky-dory relationships with every single person in our immediate family. If you do, congratulations to you and power to you. That's definitely a blessing, okay? And you should be grateful for that. But most of us don't have that. Now, beyond that, okay, once we become an adult, there's a level of responsibility that we have for our journey and for our practice where it's like, okay, but what am I allowing and why? What am I allowing and why? Again, what we're talking about is why are we someone that's constantly comparing ourselves, and how do we stop being someone that compares ourselves? And the point that I'm making here started off with is, sometimes the reason you do this is because you have people that are overly critical or overly judgmental or not accepting of you. And so that contributes to your lower self-esteem and why you can't look within yourself to figure out your greatness. You're constantly waiting for someone else to validate you or weigh in. So if you have people in your life that everybody seems to do this, there's something about that, okay, that might be linked to how you actually feel about yourself. And I know that's like a difficult thing. Again, this is not about fault. What we're trying to find is there wounding within ourselves that would have us align with people or keep people in our lives that affirm that we are not good enough? And if so, why? I feel like I'm going down a little bit of a rabbit hole. I don't know. I hope that you all are with me on this, but it's a tricky thing. It's like when I'm working with a client and maybe they are in a relationship with, someone, and this person leaves them feeling all the time like they don't contribute, or like basically makes them feel like they're not enough. And so there's a certain point where we kind of have to go into this and we have to take a look at this and go, okay, so if you're with this person, there must be a part of you that values this person's opinion or perspective to a certain degree, right? And so either you don't believe what they have said about you, or you kind of do. How do we know this? Because you're still here listening to it. Now, if you don't agree or don't believe them, why are they able to influence your view of yourself so much? It's like the whole piece around, like, if somebody calls you a yellow and purple, a yellow polka dot giraffe, right? You would be looking at this person like, you have a problem, because I know I'm not a yellow and polka dot giraffe. Like, I know that. I look in the mirror every day. I see myself all the time. That's not me. You might see that, but I know what I see. That's not me. But if there's a part of you that is like, maybe I kind of am a yellow polka dot giraffe. Maybe I kind of am. Then what happens is you get very reactivated by them pointing that out to you. And then it's like, you feel like they shouldn't be pointing it out to you. So here's what I'm saying here. Coming back to this, because I could just talk and talk and talk and talk around like in this circle, is if you have people around you that leave you feeling a particular way, and that influences you not feeling good enough, and as such being someone that needs to constantly compare yourself, look outside of yourself, you're constantly seeking validation. One of the things that you want to consider is, what is it that they say about you that you also kind of believe too, and why? Is it complete baloney? Is it something like, your family has always believed these things, and so you grew up believing them, and now there's a part of you that believes it, but you're actually trying to reject it? Like, I don't know. Let me think of something here. Like, let me think of something. Okay, this is a little bit of a tricky example because I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm going to use this. Okay, I'm just going to use this because this was something real that came up in a session. So I was working with a client, and she was saying to me that her parents feel like she shouldn't ever drink any alcohol ever, right? And so she was constantly comparing herself to the way other siblings behave, other, extended family behaved, other people inside of her community and her group, how those people behave, and constantly shaming herself and constantly feeling bad about herself, and just like really, really attacking herself, like not feeling good enough. Now, I want you to understand, this was not happening at a conscious, like, it's not like she was like, I had to work through this with her, okay? So her comparing herself was based on something that had been passed down to her through her family about what a good woman does or doesn't do. And a good woman certainly never has any alcohol. So at a certain point, as I was working through this with her, and this is like, I'm using this as an example, but like you could literally map this on to so many different things, okay? So I want you to be thinking about your own life and your own situation and how this can apply. But like, so what she did not realize was like, oh yeah, like this is just how it is. Like this is how it is in our family. This is how it's always been. This is what the expectation is. This is what people think, think and expect of you. This is how it's always been. And she didn't stop for a second to realize, like, what does she think? Like, what does she think? What does she want? She has been beating herself up because she's been believing that too. But then when we actually work through it, what she recognized was like, I am somebody that I like to have a glass of champagne at New Year's. Like, I like to have, a glass of wine with my dinner. I went to Italy. I wanted to enjoy that. And why am I feeling so ashamed for enjoying this? This is my choice. This is my life. And this is in no way is hurting me. In fact, this is allowing me to be my express self and a well-rounded version of myself. Like, I really enjoy this stuff. So when we saw that, what she was able to do was stop looking outside of herself, looking at her, her siblings, her cousins, her family, her this, her that, comparing herself to them, because it's like, why would I compare myself to someone who we don't even share the same values? Like, why am I comparing myself to you or requiring your validation when you and I don't share the same values? So again, y'all, this can be applied in so many ways. Maybe it's what you choose to do for work. Maybe it's, inside of your group of friends. Maybe all of your friends like to do a certain thing and you don't. And now you're thinking it's because you're not as conscious or you're not as whatever. I mean, I could go on and on about this. Stop comparing yourself to other people. And what you want to do is just be in your journey. Just be in your very own journey. And the other thing that I really want to say is that social media is such a problem. It's such a problem because for so many of us, we are looking at people's Instagram, we are looking at people's Facebook, we are looking at people's lives. We are doing all these things. Hi. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot. Okay, hey. Hi guys, really nice to be connected with you all finally. I've had so many requests for so many years to do lives. So I'm going to be doing these more often and I just appreciate, all of you being here with me and just the patience with us getting the live going. So just hello. And yeah, I typically have people of all ages here, so I love that. But yeah, so coming back to the point around social media is I can tell you this because I've been working with people so professionally for well over 12 years, but even in other capacities for like over 2 decades. And what I can tell you is that a lot of people will think, oh, I wish I was more like her, or I wish I was more like that, or why does it seem like he has this and he's got this going on and he's so all these things. But you guys don't see the other side. You really don't. And people who work with people who get to see the behind the scenes really understand the full picture of people's lives. So in most cases, when we think to ourselves, oh, these people are doing so much better, or that person is doing so much better, I'm telling you, they're not, okay? They might be, it might appear that they are winning in certain ways and achieving certain things, but I assure you with every single bit of everything that I've got, that I have yet to meet any person ever in my lifetime, okay, that didn't have stuff going on. Stuff that you probably wouldn't want, okay? Because that's just called being human. So when it comes to sorry about that. That's what I'm talking about, these things. Okay, so when it comes to, I'm sorry, can we just laugh a little bit? Can we just laugh a little bit? Because I mean, my God, just doing things for the first time. Anyway, I'm talking and this camera just shuts off right in the middle of it. I'll have to look into why I did that. I think it's because there's a 30-minute sort of like timer on this thing. Am I at the 35-minute? I'm at 25 minutes. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, glad it wasn't too much of an interruption. So yeah, I think I was saying, I really assure you that everybody's got something that somebody else does not want. And so when it comes to just really being, really being empowered on your self-love journey, the very best thing that you can do is just focus on yourself. When I officially was like, enough is enough, I'm actually going to take off my glasses now. Okay. When I finally just really got to a point in my life, like when I hit what I would describe is my rock bottom, okay? I got really, really serious about loving myself. Why I think things really started to move for me and things really started to make a difference, was because I was at a point where my view of myself was so low and I felt so bad that I was just like, I can't take any more pain. Like, I really could not, like, I'm telling you, okay, I could not handle any more pain. I could not handle hating myself any more than I already did. Because if I did, I don't think that I could have lived with myself. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it was at that point. And so what I really wanted was to just love myself. I was like, I don't need fancy cars. I don't need fancy titles. I don't need to like look a certain way. Like, I finally realized that no amount of looks and no amount of titles and no amount of, like, none of that stuff had worked. It wasn't what was going to help me internally to just feel better about myself, because I had tried to be more successful and tried to be, more of what people wanted me to be. I tried to be like the perfect girlfriend. Like, I tried all of those things. I tried, okay? I used food. I, at a point, had, drugs. Like, I cannot begin to express when you try so many different ways to feel better about yourself and you keep getting brought back to yourself and you realize, like, wow, like, none of this is going to work for me. You have to sit with yourself. And that's when I was like, okay, like, I just want to love myself. I just want to love myself. Like, can I just have that? Can I just have that? Can I just have enough love for myself so that I like myself? I like who I am. I like myself enough so that I can just live every day and be somewhat happy every day. I don't need a lot. And so what was so powerful about that was just wanting that had me not care. When I say not care, I literally mean it had me not care at all, okay, about other people's opinions, what other people had to say, like who I should be, who I should become, like what other people expect of me. Like, I was just like, I literally don't have the energy or the time to care about that. I cannot care about what you think because I'm just trying to be happy. All comparison gone. All comparison gone. And so maybe none of you have ever been to that place or that point where you just feel so low about yourself, or you feel so depressed, or you feel so lonely. A lot of you are way, like way ahead of where I was at when I was at my lowest. Okay. So, and that's how I know that you can go farther. Okay. Because if I can, you can. Okay. If I can, you can. Hold on. I'm just going to put on my glasses and read some of these things. How do you keep your mind on yourself, though? Okay, really great question. Okay, so how do you keep your mind on yourself? So there's a couple of stages to this, but what I would say is a great place to start to keep your mind on yourself is to kind of like box yourself in. And when I say box yourself in, I actually learned this the other day in another course that I was taking. But in that particular course, boxing yourself in is like an instruction for like how you work. Okay, so it's kind of like only doing one task at a time. In this case, what I'm referring to it as is kind of like really keeping your focus very, very tight. So here's what I would do is I literally would unfollow any account. Okay. I know this sounds drastic, but like you come first. So I would unfollow any account that when I look at them, I feel worse about myself, or I feel like they make me feel ashamed, or they make me feel like I'm not enough. Okay. So any account like that, I would stop listening just temporarily. Okay. You can always follow them back later or whatever. I would stop listening to things that make me feel like wherever I'm at right now is not enough. Okay. Like, stop listening to those podcasts, stop following those accounts. I would look at my friendships, my romantic relationships, and I wouldn't necessarily say that I would just like shut everybody out, okay? Because sometimes you have people in your life that they're there to tell you the hard things, okay? And you do want to have those people that will be like, girl, I'm sorry, but like, I think you could have done better, and not be angry at those people because they're just telling you, like, you want people that will, you don't want all yes people around you is what I'm saying. You don't want people that will always gas you up and inflate you and make you feel so good when it's like, what are you doing? You know? But what I would say is you want people, so I would eliminate the people or limit my time around people that they don't have anything good to say about you. They don't have enough good to say about you, and they're always criticizing you. Okay, so to focus on yourself, first and foremost, you want to cut out the things that make you feel bad about yourself. The next step now to focus on yourself is now you want to go, okay, who are the accounts? What are the books? What are the podcasts? What are the people that continue to redirect me to look into myself, to help myself, to care for myself, to support myself, to love myself, to heal myself, to listen to myself? Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to surround myself. I'm literally going to pad and pack myself with people who help me to do that. People who constantly offer me cues to remind me to center myself and come back to myself and not be so obsessed with the outside. So for example, if something like this, live or this YouTube helps you, there are other content creators and people, whatever, on the internet, you want to be surrounding yourself with those people. They will help you to reinforce and continue to do that. So eliminate, then pad yourself up, okay? And then what you want to start to do is start building a self-love practice. Okay? Notice you're going to be too busy eliminating and too busy patting yourself up to be doing any comparison. Do you see comparison often creeps into an idle mind? What are you doing scrolling around, comparing yourself to other people when what you really ought to be doing is taking care of yourself? You see that? So third step is your self-love practice. So like, I think I did a video for you all where I talked about my morning routine, right? So that's a practice. That's just one of many practices you can create. So again, if you have like, let's say a morning routine, right? You're like, okay, first of all, I don't sleep with my phone in my room. So I don't start my mornings going like this, going like this, which is what? Feeding your brain all kinds of stuff that is just going to activate parts of yourself that do not serve you and do not help you. Don't reach for this first thing in the morning. I don't care if you're prime minister or president of a country, it can wait 5 minutes and much longer, okay? So you're waking up and you're having intentions. You're saying your intentions to yourself. Watch my video on my morning routine if you want an example of a morning routine. I'm not reinventing the wheel in that video, but it'll just help you to give some ideas and you can create whatever you want for your morning routine. All of that is going to have you in a particular energy. It's going to have you in a particular focus. It's going to have you in a particular vibration. So you're not idly doing these things subconsciously, unconsciously that contribute to you not being your true self and not being in your true power, right? Not being empowered on your journey. Then you want to look at what your days are comprised of. Now, some of us have a job or we have things to do, like where we just need to pay the bills. It might not be what we love. So if we're in that kind of position, we have to understand that we have to do extra work to take care of ourselves because we're spending a good portion of our time doing something we don't like just to make ends meet. So you then, around your time of work, one of the things that you want to be developing is, how can I move out of this work and into something that I love and something I feel more passionate about? We'd have to get into that is something that normally I do one-to-one sessions because we have to like comb through your whole entire life and figure out where your time is, figure out what your passions are, figure out how you're going to make time inside of all the other things that you have to do. We're going to like all that kind of stuff. A lot of my clients that are my long-term clients have gone through many transitions where they were working like a job and now they have their own businesses, or they're certainly making much more than what they were making at first. So, but that's another thing. For those of you that are in a place where you like what you do, okay, that's a great practice because you're already passionate about what you do. And so once again, if you are focusing on your deliverables, not just making them a deliverable, but like, this makes a difference when you're connected to your why and you're like really inspired, right? You're on task. Your task is not to be scrolling through scrolling through this or like creeping this person's website or like, doing all this stuff, right? When you're doing that stuff, you're not doing your stuff. So my point is sort of like answering this question, and I hope this is sort of giving you some like, how do you focus on yourself? It's like to focus on yourself, you have to have in place clarity around the things that are alignment with who you are. And that's where you're like, hey, my workout, my meditation, reading this book that's going to help me learn about trauma, talking to this friend that I know makes me feel good, bringing up these things with my self-love coach or my therapist, no longer following that account, no longer following that account. looking at what account I can follow that helps me get inspired. Listen, I actually this morning was like, you know what? I told this to people on in my Instagram stories. I said, like one of the things that I'm, doing is just focusing on really once again, like upping how I think about and act and the foods I choose, like for my body. And so I was like, you know what? Let me this morning, I was like, let me just go on YouTube and let me just search out the people whose YouTube accounts really seem to inspire me in terms of like food and workouts and stuff like that. And anybody whose accounts or whatever kind of has me be more like not caring about my body or like just not really like being where I want to be, I just eliminate them. Like, love you to pieces, you're awesome, you're great, nothing wrong with you, but like I want to box myself in and focus myself in a certain way. Okay? So that's how you really focus on yourself, though. And what I would say also is very, very helpful is the whole like staying in our own lane thing. Okay. This is something that I really had to work on because I was a people pleaser and I used to get a ton of my worth and my value from helping and fixing and solving everybody else's problems. Now, I'm still somebody that you can come to, right? And that I'll be there for you and that I'll support you. But I no longer, I no longer need to be needed in order to feel valuable. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So anyway, as a result, now what was, oh my God, this is so funny. I like had this, now I'm like, I've totally forgotten where I was with that. But the point is, if you're being a people pleaser, you don't stay in your own lane. That's what I was talking about. When you're not in your own lane, you end up doing all different kinds of comparison. You know why? Because you're always in the business of talking about other people. So like, let's say you're trying to help someone, they're complaining about something. Oftentimes what they're complaining about is someone else or some other thing or some whatever. And so now you're so busy doing things for other people, okay? And helping other people clean up their messes, okay? It's not other people's fault. Understand this. It's not other people's fault. Okay? It's our responsibility to have boundaries. But again, when you feel very low and you're a people pleaser, you don't have any boundaries. You just think you're going to save everybody. Okay? And so what happens is now you're not focusing on yourself. You're not doing what you need to do for yourself. In fact, here's something that I recognized about me many years ago was that I got my joy from helping other people get their joy, so much so that I wasn't focused on my own joy. And I was like, well, basically, it's like living vicariously through other people. Do you understand? And then trying to say that the reason I like don't have certain things is because, oh, I do so much volunteering or I do so much, this and that. I'm so busy helping other people. Well, from a self-love perspective, that is not how it's meant to work. That's self-sacrifice, and that's not what we want. Okay? So well, what is self-loving is like you give it to yourself first. Okay? You put on your own oxygen mask first. You take care of yourself first. And then you're like, you know what? I have lots to give. I have more to give you. I have energy. I was literally talking to a client this morning he has just like, he's turned his, like when I say he's turned his whole life around, this person has gone from experiencing severe bouts of depression and whatever to being like epically in love in this incredible relationship. His business is like booming and whatever. And the thing that I want to say is what he said to me this morning is, I have so much energy. Typically the things that used to exhaust me and used to drain me, he used to be like, oh, like I can only do one thing, like one thing for the day, or like he didn't really want to go out, or he wasn't wanting to be a social, like all of these things. Now he wants to do all of them. Now he wants to help more people. Now he says, you know, for example, and I have to like obviously not give too many details to make it confidential, but he's like, I want to be so generous. That's self-love. That's the overflow. A lot of us have never been trained how to give from the overflow. So coming back to the comparison piece, it's eventually what happens to those of us that are people pleasers, and we get so much of our worth and our value from, you know, lifting other people up, is we begin to then look at our lives and we're like, hold on a second, but my life hasn't changed. My life hasn't changed. Like, what's going on with my life? What am I doing? Like, why? And then you start to feel bad because you're looking now at the progress of other people around you and going, what did I do? So don't do that, okay? Watch the people pleasing. Watch the avoiding your own life by taking care of everyone else in their own life. And I will say this, some of us are just very scared. Some of us are very scared. And then we compare ourselves to other people. And it's like, well, you actually haven't tried. You haven't put yourself on the line like that or gone for it like that because you've been scared. You will encourage other people to risk it and go for it and start it and do it and cheerlead for them and clap for them and push them and be accountable and like follow up with them. But like, what about you? So you're comparing yourself to other people, but you haven't been that for you, right? And so that's where that comes from too. So you just want to watch that. So I could talk much more about this, but we've talked quite a bit. And I think this is a good sort of place for us to kind of just, you know, cap this and sort of just wrap this up. I just want to say thank you to all of you that were here today because, as I mentioned before, I had so many clients asking me to do YouTube lives. And I have to tell you, you all, I'm a very introverted person. So I'm very confident. I know who I am, but being in a group or being with a lot of people is something that I've really had to work my way up to. I love like quiet groups, little groups, one-to-one conversations. They're so intimate. And I have like a lot of friends or people that they love standing on stage and being in front of like thousands of people and stuff like that. And I'm just a little different. But what I recognize is that I love being with you all, and I love being of service, and that you all are such wonderful people, and that I want to do more, right? I want to do more for you all, and that you all are just so great. So I will be doing more of these lives, and I thank you so much for being here again. I hope this was helpful. If you have requests on other topics that you want me to cover, you know, definitely leave them down below this live, or you can always leave them in the comments of another video that you're watching. I do have a couple of spots open and available for people that want to do one-to-one coaching. And if you're interested in that, you can definitely have a look at the links that are in the description box. I'm wishing you all like a really wonderful day. Let me put on my glasses to read this. Hi. We're just wrapping up now. So thank you again, everyone. And this completes this live, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, there's a self-love masterclass likely coming out later this week, so look out for that too. Bye.